Going through the airport has become time-consuming, you might say.
A little frustrating
Those long security lines, of course, you have to remember to take your bag of things out, take off your shoes, take off the belt, don't forget the watch. That could all be changing, though. Some travelers may soon have it a little easier at the airport.
Yeah, a new program will create express lines for some people. And CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Bob Orr joins us now from Reagan National Airport with more on that. Bob, good morning.
Good morning, Chris. Well, as you've been saying, nearly 2 million people fly in this country every day, and you can ask any one of them. Checkpoints can be a hassle. But now the TSA is testing a new idea aimed at improving security and reducing those hassles.
The TSA wants to streamline airport checkpoints by permitting certain frequent travelers to go through less rigorous screening. That will allow the TSA then to focus on the passengers it knows least about.
The vast majority of people pose no threat to civil aviation, and so how can we identify those people before they get to the airport, before the checkpoint, and then when they get there to expedite that by then allowing us to focus more on the unknowns.
In exchange for providing TSA with some additional personal and travel information, certain pre-screened passengers will be eligible to go through special expedited security lanes. They'll still have to go through metal detectors, but may be able to keep their shoes on and leave their laptops in their carry-ons. Beginning this fall, selected frequent flyers boarding Delta Airlines in Atlanta and Detroit and American Airlines in Miami and Dallas will be invited to participate, as will U.S. citizens who've already passed background checks by Customs and Border Protection. Experts say it's a common-sense approach.
It is going to create an environment where it is risk-based and intelligence-driven rather than just the random processes that you're going through right now.
And the TSA says it will strengthen security by allowing authorities to focus more on those individuals who may present a real threat.
If we're looking for a needle in a haystack, let's separate the knowns out of that and then have a smaller stack to look at.
Now, initially, this will only benefit about 5,000 to 8,000 passengers directly each day. But if the concept works, this could be a game changer, helping travelers nationwide, Chris.
All right, CBS's Bob Orr at Reagan National for us this morning. Bob, thanks. Good talking with you. Joining us now from Denver with reaction to the new program is aviation expert Michael Boyd. Mr. Boyd, good morning.
Good morning.
So you got over 600 million people traveling each year here in the U.S. This program sounds pretty good. Will it effectively make travel easier, do you think?
No, it's one of the most dangerous things I've ever heard of. Number one, it's not going to reduce the time you go through security, but more importantly, hear what they just said. It'll give them time to focus on the untrusted travelers, which means if you don't go through a government background check, you are going to be untrusted. That's what they just said. And the whole idea, you're going to have to go through the same security either way. But what really scares me is you're not going to be a trusted person unless you go through a government background check. That's scary.
Well, let me ask you this. You're an expert, and you think that this is obviously such a horrible decision. Why would they decide on something like this if there is so much margin for error out there?
Because the TSA is not a professionally managed organization. The problem with it is we have politics involved. We have go and show. The other day they announced they found a bag with 13 knives in it. I'm not impressed. The reality of this is show, and it's not going to improve anything, but what the real scary part is what they just said, which was this will give us a chance to focus on the people we don't know. That is a very scary concept.
Do you run the risk of potentially profiling, which is something that obviously they've tried to stay away from even using that term ever since 9/11? Because kind of along the lines of what the program looks like, it's like you're taking the people, I'm assuming they're talking about, you know, kids and older people and putting them off and let them go because they don't pose a threat. But you do run the risk, do you not?
You got a good point there. The profiling here would be you didn't go through a government check. And let's remember, most of the 9/11 hijackers could have passed a background check, unless you're profiling. So the reality of it is, this is one of those things, it's a lot of show and no go, and I don't buy it, and it's a shame that people just look into this and say, it'll be just great. The reality is look beneath the surface, because it's not an improvement in security, and we do have major security issues.
And the timing seems a little bit odd, coming off a week where you have a report that says there's been 25,000 breaches since 9/11 alone. But let me ask you this. You're an expert, so what would you do to make things more secure, a little bit more safe, yet efficient for passengers? Do you have any ideas that you would pose?
Oh, absolutely. We have to have professional security. The people in the blue shirts that go through our stuff, they're great people, but at the top, we don't have people who are anticipating security threats. 9/11 was not a passenger screening failure, it was a total security failure. We have to have a security system other than the TSA, which isn't working, that anticipates threats, has mitigation programs, and looks ahead and thinks like a terrorist. We don't have that. Believe me, we're no safer than we were before 9/11, regardless of the press releases being put out.
All right. Mr. Boyd, thanks so much for taking the time. Good to talk with you this morning.